In the days of ancient Egypt, the land was bathed in the golden light of the sun god Ra. Ra, the ruler of all creation, had seen countless generations of people bask in his life-giving warmth. But as the years passed, something began to trouble Ra deeply. The people of Egypt, once humble and reverent, had grown restless and insolent. They no longer held the sun god in reverence. They no longer bowed to his divine authority. The shadows of arrogance and defiance loomed over Egypt. The grand temples that were once filled with chants of praise now echoed with whispers of discontent. Ra, the ancient and wise god, felt a deep concern. The world he had lovingly nurtured was slipping into rebellion, and the connection between the divine and the mortal seemed frayed. The heavens themselves seemed to rumble in response to the growing unrest. Ra knew he had to act, to restore order and remind humanity of their place in the grand scheme of creation. Ra was worried, deeply worried. He called upon the divine council, for he knew that he must find a way to quell this rebellion. Among those who gathered was Thoth, the god of wisdom and knowledge. Thoth was born from Ra himself, being one of the eldest sons of Ra. He was often credited with creating the art of writing and the 365-day calendar. Thoth listened carefully to Ra's concerns and pondered a solution. His voice resonated with wisdom as he spoke. "Send your eye, O Ra," he suggested. "Let it bring retribution to those who defy your divine will." Ra, his once potent eyes filled with a mixture of sorrow and determination, considered this counsel. Tired and troubled, he agreed to Thoth's plan. The Eye of Ra was no ordinary eye, you see. It had the power to take on various different forms, and one of these was the form of the goddess Hathor. Hathor, the goddess of love and music in her gentler form, had been handpicked by Ra to serve as his eye. She was a source of joy and celebration, often invoked during festivals and times of merriment. Yet when Ra commanded her to take on her fearsome lioness-headed form, she obeyed without hesitation. In this new form, Hathor became a formidable force, her roar like thunder and her might inspiring awe. She was ready to fulfill her mission of retribution, to remind the people of Egypt that the power of the gods was not to be underestimated. But Hathor was not alone in this divine task. Ra had, in his boundless wisdom, also given birth to two other goddesses who shared her fierce aspects, Sekhmet and Bastet. Sekhmet, like Hathor, could become a lioness-headed goddess, a force of destruction and vengeance. She was Ra's embodiment of retribution and his warrior aspect. Fierce and unyielding, she stood ready to execute the divine will. Besides Sekhmet, there was Bastet, born of the union of Ra and Isis. She was also known as the Cat of Ra, a goddess of both gentleness and strength. Bastet had a unique role, serving as a guardian of the home and a protector of the innocent. The trio of goddesses, Hathor, Sekhmet, and Bastet, each embodied a facet of Ra's divine will. They were tasked with maintaining order in their own unique ways, with Hathor sent forth to punish humanity for their rebellion, while Sekhmet and Bastet watched over Egypt, ready to play their roles in the unfolding divine drama. These three goddesses, as Ra's agents of justice and guardians of his authority, were about to play pivotal roles in the timeless tale of divine retribution and the profound lessons humanity would soon learn. Hathor, now transformed into the fearsome lioness-headed goddess, roamed the earth with a relentless and boundless fury. She had become a divine avenger, a force of nature to be reckoned with, as her mighty roar thundered through the land. Her destruction seemed unceasing, and her wrath was unparalleled in its ferocity. As Hathor moved through the once peaceful land, villages trembled and quaked in fear at her approach. The people, who had once defied divine authority and forgotten their place in the grand scheme of things, now cried out in despair. Their voices echoed through the air, a mournful chorus that marked the consequences of their rebellion. The skies themselves seemed to darken in response to her furious rampage. The sun, which had once bathed Egypt in warmth and light, now seemed to hide its face. The very heavens appeared to weep at the destruction that Hathor brought upon the land. Hathor's terrible might knew no bounds, and her mission of retribution was carried out with ruthless efficiency. She was a force of divine reckoning, a manifestation of the consequences of humanity's defiance. Her lioness form left a trail of devastation in its wake, a chilling reminder of the price to be paid for rebellion. The once thriving towns and settlements, where families had once lived in harmony, now lay in ruin. The streets echoed with the echoes of her terrible roar, a sound that sent shivers down the spines of those who remained. A river of human blood flowed from her path, staining the land as a grim testament to the consequences of humanity's rebellion. As Hathor's rampage continued, the world below was shrouded in fear and despair. The events had taken a dark turn, and the gods watched with heavy hearts, knowing that they must intervene to save what remained of the people. The earth was gripped by a dark and foreboding despair as Hathor's relentless destruction continued its unyielding march. The very land that had once thrived under the warm embrace of Ra's benevolent sun now lay shrouded in terror. The people's cries for mercy echoed through the desolation, their voices a mournful lament. From the celestial realm above, the gods themselves watched with heavy hearts. The Divine Council, a gathering of the most powerful and wise deities, observed the unfolding tragedy with growing concern. They saw the dire consequences of Hathor's unrelenting rampage, a storm of chaos and violence that threatened to consume all of humanity. The once thriving land had transformed into a nightmarish landscape. The villages, once bustling with life, now stood as eerie and shattered remnants of a happier past. The streets were stained with the blood of those who had fallen victim to Hathor's divine wrath. The situation had become undeniably dire, a crisis that required immediate intervention. The gods in their celestial realm knew that they must act swiftly to save what remained of the people. Amid the Divine Council, Thoth, the god renowned for his wisdom and cleverness, gazed upon the devastation Hathor's rampage was causing. He knew they had to find a way to halt her relentless destruction and protect humanity from impending annihilation. Thoth, with his intellect and cunning mind, took it upon himself to craft a plan that would save Egypt from the brink of catastrophe. Thoth's ingenious plan was born from necessity and a deep well of divine cleverness. With a heart heavy from witnessing the suffering on earth, he set to work, conjuring a scheme to deceive Hathor and restore order. It was a mission of great importance, one that would require not just his wisdom, but also his craftiness. The heart of Thoth's plan lay in an unassuming mixture, a blend of beer, the golden nectar that had often flowed in times of celebration and joy, and pomegranate juice. The result was a crimson elixir, a liquid that bore a striking resemblance to human blood in both its color and texture. This concoction would become a vital element of their daring strategy to save humanity. The beer, symbolizing revelry and merriment, and the pomegranate juice with its deep red hue, held within them the potential to change the course of events. Thoth, with his wit and knowledge, had created a symbol of life and vitality disguised as a symbol of death and destruction. With the elixir prepared and the Divine Council's plan set in motion, Thoth and his fellow gods took action. Thoth, the architect of this clever scheme, poured the crimson elixir across the land. The liquid flowed, creating a vast and gleaming lake that gleamed like a precious ruby in the radiant light of the sun. This deceptive masterpiece, designed to mimic a river of human blood, bore a striking resemblance to the emotions and devastation that had marked Hathor's terrible rampage. It shimmered and sparkled, reflecting the burning sun above, casting a surreal glow upon the land. In her lioness form, Hathor continued her frenzied quest for destruction, unaware of the cunning plan that had been set into motion. The goddess's eyes, still tinged with remnants of her rage, locked onto the mirage before her. To her, it appeared as though a river of human blood lay before her, a chilling sight that mirrored the consequences of her own wrath. Hathor, her heart heavy with what she believed to be the lifeblood of her victims, approached the shimmering blood lake with a mix of fascination and sorrow. Her steps, once resounding with thunderous fury, now carried a sense of trepidation. The weight of her actions bore down upon her, her divine consciousness slowly giving way to the subtle stirrings of doubt. As Hathor peered into the blood, her reflection stared back at her from the glistening surface. The goddess, whose roar had once shaken the very foundations of the earth, now saw a truth that had eluded her in the throes of her relentless destruction. The reflection, an image of her divine essence, mirrored the stark reality that the blood, was but an artful deception, a symbol created by the clever gods to prompt her transformation. Hathor, the once ferocious lioness-headed goddess whose roar had sent terror rippling through the land, stood before the gleaming blood lake. In her profound disillusionment, she lowered her mighty head toward the crimson elixir, which sparkled like 1,000 rubies beneath the sun's tender gaze. With an air of hesitancy and curiosity, Hathor lapped up the concoction that flowed like a river of life and death. The elixir, a powerful brew that mimicked the hue of human blood, coursed through her being, mingling with her divine essence. The transformation within her was swift, a potent magic that dulled her senses and clouded her once raging heart. As the elixir's effects took hold, the fury that had consumed Hathor for so long began to ebb away like the receding tide. The weight of her relentless destruction and the vengeful fire that had driven her began to lift, replaced by an unexpected and bewildering sensation. Hathor's transformation was nothing short of profound. Her once thunderous roar, a sound that had shattered mountains and cast fear into the hearts of humanity, began to change. It softened, becoming a joyous and drunken laughter that echoed across the land. The divine goddess reveled in her altered state, her laughter like a gentle melody that danced through the air, replacing the echoes of destruction that had marked her path. The world, once shrouded in terror, now bore witness to a divine transformation of unparalleled magnitude. The goddess who had been a force of wrath and chaos had found herself immersed in a newfound sense of mirth and jubilation. Hathor, the guardian of celebration and joy, had re-emerged, and the consequences of her transformation would have profound implications for both the gods and humanity. In the place of her once fierce demeanor, there emerged a renewed essence, one filled with love and nurturing. She was no longer a force of reckoning, but had returned to her true nature. Hathor, the guardian of joy and celebration, the source of love and harmony, had reclaimed her identity. With her return to her gentler self, she was now prepared to rejoin Ra and the other gods. Chapter 10. As Hathor's transformation into her gentler form unfolded, a profound sense of relief washed over both the divine realm and the land of Egypt. Humanity, once teetering on the brink of further devastation, had been spared from the relentless wrath that had befallen them. Ra's retribution had served its purpose, a stark reminder of the consequences of rebellion against divine authority. The people of Egypt had learned a harsh lesson, one that emphasized the vital importance of recognizing and respecting the grand tapestry of the divine order. With Hathor's return to her benevolent self, the people of Egypt could once again thrive in the benevolent warmth of Ra's radiant sun. The land, once scarred by chaos and destruction, would heal and flourish once more. Following these events, Ra looked down upon the people of the world and, with a heavy heart, decided to leave them behind. He had grown weary of humanity's deeds, and despair filled his divine heart. Ra ascended to the cosmos on the back of Nut, the goddess of the sky. She took the form of a heavenly cow and enveloped the cosmos with her presence. Nut was supported in the sky with the help of the 8 hay gods and Shu, the god of air. With Nut in her rightful place, Ra began his restructuring. He designated roles and responsibilities to the various gods. Nut would control the skies, Thoth would embody the moon, the crocodiles of the land would be an extension of Sobek, and so on. Ra also casted 4 spells upon the world. First, he shielded humanity with his power to protect them from the turbulent forces of chaos. In the second spell, Ra casted a spell of identification, allowing mortals to draw upon his divine power. The third spell was meant to guard both the cosmos and Earth. And lastly, the fourth and final spell revealed the words to be recited on the 1st and 15th days of the month, both for the living and the departed souls, to ensure the protection and gifts from Ra. And with that, the cycle of life, with its endless rhythms and eternal renewal, would continue unabated. At least for the time being.